You know, this is kind of the weirdest thing to me about the media. Like when something good happens, instead of saying something good happens, they just mention that conservatives claim something good is happening. Or let me rephrase that because it probably came out weird. When something good happens around Trump, instead of the media saying, hey, the economy is good, and we just saw a record Black Friday, they say Trump supporters conservatives claim the economy is good. But we literally just saw a record Black Friday. You can't assume it's due to I don't know, not the economy? Like, what are you talking about? They go on to add that liberal recession attempts failed. That's what conservatives are claiming. Well, I'll tell you what, that's a fair criticism, but there has been a ton of press. There's been a ton of stories from the media where they keep saying, oh, the recession's coming. Be careful. You better pull out your stocks. Remember that guy, was it Kurt Eichenwald, who after Trump got elected, he says, you better pull all of your, he said something about pulling all of his stocks in 401k or whatever, because he was worried about the economy after Trump got elected. And then the economy skyrocketed. Boy, does that guy probably regret that. People are seeing 30% gains on their retirement accounts. So here's what happens. Black Friday, we saw some punching, we saw some stomping, and we saw some people buying some widescreen TVs. But apparently, we are seeing a record Black Friday, up 22%. Is the economy doing well? Listen, man, when you look at most reporting, yeah, everybody's saying it's not the greatest economy ever, but it's pretty good. And we now have a record Black Friday. Sounds to me like people have money to spend. Do you think they're going to want to rock the boat with Elizabeth Warren saying we're going to give health care to non-citizens? Well, they all said they're going to give health care to non-citizens. No, people are going to be like, dude, things are going great, man. Let's not rough stuff up. I will say, immigration is way, way down under Trump. And I think that may play into why the unemployment rate is down. And I mean that. I'm not saying it's a perfect one-for-one correlation or the sole reason. But why is it that more people have money? Unemployment is way down. Labor force participation is way up. And I think it's because we have substantially less. I believe immigration is down 70%, which means when a business needs to hire someone, you have to choose an American. Or you're more than twice as likely now to have to hire an American, which means more Americans with jobs. Let's read. Conservative pundits and Fox News hosts rejoiced at reports of record Black Friday online shopping sales, praising the Trump economy for allowing shoppers to spend even more money this year. But couldn't you just write a story saying, rejoice at the record Black Friday spending, the economy is good? Why does it have to be that you're talking about the conservatives talking about it? Those conservative figures, ranging from a GOP congressman to Fox Business Network panelists, praised Donald Trump's Saturday after Adobe Analytics data showed Black Friday spending hit a new $5.4 billion record, up more than 22% from last year. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk claimed consumers saw through the supposed efforts of mainstream media to scare the U.S. into a recession, and instead turned out in droves to spend exorbitant amounts of money on holiday gifts, primarily through online shopping. A Barron's Roundtable panel on Fox Business Network Saturday urged consumers to spend even more money on Cyber Monday, which Adobe predicted will hit $9.4 billion in sales, an 18.9% increase from last year. Now, while we're here, I'm going to throw a little shade at Mr. Charlie Kirk. I actually think he's an all right dude. I think, he always posts the questioning meme. But he recently tweeted about Chick-fil-A betraying conservatives and supporting the SPLC. And while I can certainly understand the outrage of them supporting the SPLC, because the SPLC has smeared meat, dude, come on. Chicken Shop. I'm going to give you criticism the same I gave to the left when they were screeching about Chicken Shop supporting the Salvation Army. Let's not go there. Don't think you're going to get a free pass from me. Now, I will admit, it's an aside. Let's get back to the point. But listen, I think it's silly to complain about Chick-fil-A. And every time these stories come up, I go, but anyway, I do agree to an extent with Charlie Kirk here. I think the media was really trying to rile up this idea of a recession. And I think there were certainly people who hoped it would happen. But there were some legitimate economists saying there could be a recession. And you need to understand, it's not so much about a grand conspiracy to drum up a recession, but that it was juicy. Look, things are going great, man, right? What does the media need to get those juicy clicks? They need to scare you. So how do you scare someone when everything's going so good? You say, hey, we could take that all away in an instant. And so while everyone's celebrating, they got disposable cash, we got a record Black Friday, the media runs stories that are shocking and scary, not necessarily to go after Trump, but because they know it will sell. Because people are sitting there saying, I have so much money right now. I'm so happy. And how do you get them to watch? Threaten their happiness. That's what it's really about. Now, for sure, I'm sure there's political actors and media, probably, who know they can drum up a recession by scaring investors into pulling out their investments. But you know what? In the end, the market is stronger than a few pundits. So he said, boom, the experts on MSM tried to scare us into a recession, but consumers aren't buying it. Thanksgiving shoppers spent a record $4.1 billion, up 14% over last year. Black Friday spending is up 22% to a record high of $5.4 billion. This is the Trump economy at work. Well, he's right. It is the Trump economy. Listen, man, you can't simultaneously claim that Trump is hurting farmers with his trade war and then act like the economy isn't a result of his policies. So I have no problem giving credit to the president if the economy is doing really, really well. I think the presidency involves much more than just trade agreements in the economy, but right now we have a tradesman president. He's got bad attitude, he tweets inappropriately, and he's not perfect when it comes to character, but he is a guy who knows trade. So don't be surprised when you get someone like Trump in and he proposes things that generate revenue. If we got in someone like Tulsi Gabbard, don't be surprised if she focuses on ending foreign wars. There's different specialties for the president. We have military presidents, we have, policy presidents, social justice presidents, and right now we got a businessman president. Lo and behold, you end up with a good economy. How's our foreign policy doing? It's kind of shaky. It's kind of shaky because Trump's not a foreign policy guy. And so for me, I think that the chief role of the president is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And that's why I give so much more bonus points to servicemen and women who are, running for office. But let's get back to the economy. See what's going on. Huge consumer confidence in real Donald Trump's economy is at a level that hasn't been seen in 20 years, the Trump War Room Twitter account blared earlier this week. And look, you can't really deny it when we're seeing these massive spikes in consumer confidence from 96.8 up to 96.8 from 95.5. And here's what it matters. Here's what really matters. Do you think the average American is sitting in their lounging in their chair watching a sports game as the man throws the football? Do you think on their mind they're going, man, I'm so concerned about the plight of of the problem of institutional and systemic racism and prejudice in our country? Do you think that when the old lady is sitting there carving up turkey, she stops and pauses and thinks about the problem of colonialism and patriarchy? The answer is no. But I'll tell you what, both of those people very likely pause to think about a bill they have to pay. And what happens when they get to pay that bill? When they get to buy that new crock pot, that new air fryer that everybody's wanted? What happens when they get to buy that new video game little Timmy's been begging for? They feel good. And they plan ahead. There's less stress. And they look at what the president is doing and they say the economy is doing well. And that's why people win on the economy. Because the American people aren't sitting there. And you know what? I know I did a dig at social justice, but let me do another one. Your mechanic isn't underneath the car, with a wrench, stopping and thinking about the plight of, the roads in Afghanistan and the waste of money, or they're not thinking about the civilians being drone striked. Nope. They're not even thinking about that. And that's what I care about. Okay. I think it's a huge waste of money. And I think we got to do better by our own American people. But I relate that back to what Americans need to know about. And that's why I'm frustrated by a lot of the Democrat policies, because while that mechanic is under that car, cranking away at that wrench, he's worried about how he's going to pay his rent. He's worried about how he's going to feed his kids, put his kids in college, or do right by his family. Or I'll tell you what they are thinking about. There's a mechanic in Flint who's scared because he's got a little kid and he knows the water is bad. And that's what he's thinking about. And so for me, I look at that problem and I say, how do we solve that problem? Well, for one, a good economy means more tax revenue. The better the economy is, the more trade, the more little bits get nickeled and dimed through the taxes into the government to spend for things. You don't necessarily need to raise taxes to increase tax revenue. It actually could have an opposite effect. If it reduces trade volume and hurts the market, there will be less trade. And even though you increase the tax percentage, less money comes in. It's actually possible to increase revenues by decreasing the tax rate. So I look at this wasted money overseas and think we could be using that money which we should be on things that Americans care about. So here's the point, right? The main point is I find it silly that when something really good happens with the economy, the framing of it from Newsweek is like Trump supporters are touting a great economy. It's like, come on, dude. The economy is good. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best? No, but it is good. People are spending money. Consumer confidence is up. Some people argue it's not. I get it. But the point is people be spending cash. And when it comes time to vote, they're not going to be arguing over giving health care to homeless illegal immigrants. They're going to be thinking about, can I get my kid? Can I move, what he wants? Can I move up in the world? Can I plan for a better future? Unfortunately for the Democrats, the answer under Donald Trump has been a resounding yes. Does that mean Trump is perfect? Of course not. Okay, it's so silly to me when people are like, Tim should vote for Trump because he recognizes that the Democrats are crazy. Yeah, I get it. But I vote for who I like based on the core things I think are the most important. And I think we're blessed with a good economy right now. I think Trump deserves credit for this and many other things, but I wouldn't vote for the guy. I wouldn't do it. And it's not because I have Trump derangement syndrome. It's for a lot of reasons outside. You know what? I'll put it this way. Like I said earlier, and I'll wrap this up because I don't want to rant on this like I always do. It's just, for me, the commander-in-chief the presidency is the commander-in-chief. And I look at people like, I got respect for Buttigieg for this, okay? You know, and I should issue I don't want to call it an apology, but I know early in my main segment I said, what does he have to offer? Well, okay, he did serve, and I have tremendous respect for that. And I think that experience is some of the most important experience a president could have. Trump doesn't have that. Trump's a businessman. And I think that's good, and it can help in a lot of ways. But when it comes down to it, I'm going to pick somebody who I think is going to run our law enforcement agencies and our military properly. Otherwise, I'm really just not going to vote. Like I said, man, a lot of this was shaped by what happened with Obama. When Obama said, hope, change, ending the wars, and I said, there's my guy. And then he went and blew up a bunch of kids, and I was like, nope, I was wrong. And so now I'm mainly concerned with, listen, we can have arguments and debate over policy and these things. And when it comes to the economy, it's not just Trump, it's a lot of factors. And I think, you know, the commander-in-chief for me, it's about the military. And I think our military needs to be reprioritized in a lot of ways. I want to make sure we do right by our veterans and by, you know, the men and women who are in service, because whether or not, you know, even they recognize it, I think that's a job not a lot of people want to do, but needs to be done. That allows us to sit around watching football and loafing and drinking beer and playing games. So I have tremendous respect for that. I just get offended when they use that goodwill from people who are willing to serve this country to go and drop bombs on kids in Yemen. And I think it's a waste of money that we could be allocating that towards literal bridge building in the United States. So I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for hanging out. Stick around. I will see you all tomorrow at 10 a.m. Again, thank you for hanging out.